Going to call the meeting to order at 7:14. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So first meeting after town meeting, so we had the organization of the select board officers. So is there a motion to elect a chairman?
Make a motion to nominate Jim Lamey as chairman of the select board.
I'll second that.
So it's been moved and seconded for Jim as a chairman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? You abstained?
I abstain, yes.
So the ayes have it, 4-1, or 4-0, so Mr. Leamy has been nominated as the chairman of the select board.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate this. I don't know if it's an honor or I should, as I said to some, get a sympathy card for me. Okay, we'll move on quickly, but I do appreciate it. Nominations for vice chair.
I would move that we appoint Mr. Combs vice chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
That was seconded?
Any other,
Yes.
yes, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I recuse myself.
Parliamentarian,
I would nominate Mr. Mark as parliamentarian.
I'll second that.
in a second. Any other nominees? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, so now I screwed this up again, but I've got it written down so far.
Recording in progress.
Now we're recording.
You okay?
Yeah, I've got it written down so far.
Nominations for secretary. Is there a motion to nominate someone for secretary of the board?
Make a motion, we nominate Mary Lee Harris.
I'll second that.
And a second? Any other nominations? If not, all those in favor,
Aye.
appointing
Aye.
Mary Lee?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, adopting resolutions of day and time of meetings.
I make a motion that we resolve that our regular meetings will be held on the second and fourth Monday of the month at 7 PM at the Castleton Fire Department Community Room, 273 Route 30 North, Bomoseen, Vermont.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second? Any discussion? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Adopts rules of procedure.
I make a motion that we adopt the rules of procedure for the Town of Castleton Select Board as presented.
I'll second it.
In a second. Any discussion? Joe?
Just a couple very small modifications I think we should make to these.
Okay.
For one, in the second paragraph on the first page, the paragraph that starts application, I think the end of that line, we need to add town of. It says shall apply to the select board of the Castleton. We should either say select board of Castleton or select board of the town of Castleton. Either's fine as far as I'm concerned. Starting on the second page, second line, says duly noticed. I think we should have a space between duly and noticed. Down towards the bottom, in point number 1 under agendas, we start getting into kind of a mixture of single space and double space. The first and second lines are double spaced, the third and fourth are single spaced, and that becomes, that is inconsistent throughout. It appears again on pages 3, 4, and 5, so we just, I think, presumably this should all be double-spaced. And on the third page, the first line, after in the municipality, Castleton, places in the municipality, Castleton Post Office, I think we need some punctuation in there. Let me go back. At the following designated public places in the municipality, I think there should be a colon after municipality. And on the fourth page, under public participation, section 2, we have some sentences that have been broken up. The first sentence under 2 should read, but before any action is taken, but that's been turned into a new line. And following that, it's by majority vote, the body may increase the time for public comment. Again, that's been broken up. And otherwise, there are just a bunch of places where the paragraphs are single-spaced as opposed to double-spaced, which the rest are. But otherwise, as far as the content of it, I'm fine with this document.
Mike, did you get those?
I did.
Is Allison with us?
No,
No? Okay, but you got the corrections, Mike?
I do, thank you.
Okay. Barely.
When you're talking about where we're going to post things, could it be posted on Front Porch Forum? Everybody reads that as an addition.
Sure.
I like that.
Yep, why not? Get that, Mike?
Just gotta get to the page.
That would be in two spots, it'd be the top of page 3 and number 2 on page 3.
I have it.
Okay. Did we have a motion on that? Did we? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I made a motion, we approve it as presented.
Okay,
The second
so we
is
have
now
the-
we're making
Corrections, right.
corrections.
Okay, all those, any other corrections, comments on the board?
Dick might have something.
I just have I don't have anything more to add to this, except for, do we want to wait to sign this until we have an approved corrected copy?
Sure.
I think so.
So
sense.
I will table my motion, is that correct?
Yep.
Correct way of doing it, Mr. Parliamentarian?
I think we can approve it as amended, and the signing can take place when the document has been modified to.
Okay, that makes
reflect the
sense.
changes we've made.
Okay. Anything else on this?
No, we're gonna vote on it, though.
Yeah, vote to approve it with the correction, but we won't sign it till we get the corrected copy.
Agreed.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye.
We'll make a motion that we adopt the Town of Castleton policy regarding conflicts of interest and ethical conduct as presented and approved last year and originally adopted on 7/28/2019.
Second. And a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye? Do you have a new copy to sign, Jim, or?
I haven't. I don't seem to have that one. No, I don't. I don't
So
have
can
that.
we ask Mike to provide us with a new copy for distribution and signature? Do you think that's appropriate, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
As do I.
No problem.
So can you do that, Mike?
I can do anything you want.
That's your,
On this, the original was adopted on 7/8, then there's signatures. All it says at the bottom, this was reaffirmed on 3/23/20. So do you want me to look up if it's legal, if it's just date, reaffirm at select board meeting this date by 5-0 vote, or something like that? Or do you want to re-sign the whole damn thing again?
I think we should
be
re-sign it.
re-signed.
All right.
because Mary Lee's never had the opportunity to see it, or, well, you've seen it, but you haven't signed it.
Okay.
Mr. Mark didn't sign it either.
No, I noticed that.
Okay, so we're going to wait for that?
We can We
Approve
did
it?
vote to approve it, or did we? Did you call the question yet?
I'll call the question now.
Just to make sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Joe?
I don't think we should have our organizational meetings like this in the future. I mean, I'm going to vote for the agenda, but let's imagine that a new select board member got elected on town meeting day, found out 8:30 Tuesday night that she won, went into the office, as I did on Saturday, and picked up this, with the expectation that she was going to be prepared for a meeting at 6:15
Tonight.
on Monday.
Yep.
Frankly, I think that's absurd. If you go online and you look at other towns' organizational meetings, this is what you see. For the most part. Here's another one. This is, let's see, Hartford. This was Springfield. A few of them have longer agendas, but it's all organizational stuff. It's appointing the town attorney, the inspector of coal, the energy coordinator, the town keeper, the liquor control board. Everything on this agenda, and this one is organizational stuff. It's not all of this stuff which requires that a new select board meeting get up to speed on a whole variety of issues that have been going on for months.
Sure.
So we have to do what we've set out to do and what we told the citizens we were going to do tonight, but I hope we don't have this kind of first meeting after town meeting in the future.
Your comments are appreciated.
I'd like to agree on that because last year I read and half of it, I had no idea what I was reading.
Sure. Okay.
And for a new member, most of it probably really needs a meeting with the manager or the chair, and you don't know that until it's the weekend before the meeting. Thank you.
Okay? Good points. You and Mary Lee. We're now at approval of the agenda, correct?
Correct.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. Approval of the minutes. First one is 2/27, the second one is 2/13.
I'm gonna make it mixed up for you, Mr. Chairman. I'm gonna make a motion, we approve the minutes for February 13th, 2023 as presented.
I'll second it.
Discussion, corrections?
I've got several.
Okay, go ahead. That's on 2/13.
We're on 213.
Yep, I've got 213. On page 2, down in updating on the heating system, some places it's VE Rambos, and other places it's B Elliott on the next page. I think we should be one or the other. And on that update on the heating, the second line from the bottom, it should area on the roof. The next,
Oh, excuse me, I didn't catch that one. Where is that?
okay, it's on page 2, still on the heating system. Go up to, and it says, Paul McClure to check on area on the roof instead of just,
Got it, thank you.
okay, the next one down is, it's self-sustaining to prove it. It has to be put in there, would be good for the whole community. The next one down is, the second line up, I think was should be eliminated. At the top of the next page, again, it says B. Elliott. I just think it should be consistent, whether it's B.A. Rambos or B.E. Rambos or however.
Could I just comment on that, Mr. Chairman? I caught a couple of those, even though I wasn't at this meeting, but pretty much throughout, we used the first initial period's last name.
These are all
That's what I would favor.
changed. Down, when we're talking about manager's update, you want to get way down to where they're talking about the emergency shelter. Manager from the Legion, I think we should put John Tester's name in there. Okay, on page 4, down at the bottom, it said blank made a motion, I think it was Dick that made the motion to exit executive session with no action taken, and I'm not sure who seconded that. All voted in favor, but there was action taken, and so Dick made a motion, seconded by me, and I don't know the exact wording of it, of what was done. I think it was a letter to be written.
I thought that was this meeting.
No, it was the 13th. And then on
Yeah,
the
you're
back.
correct, I wasn't here. I was on Zoom that other meeting.
And on the last page is executive session. Again, I think you made the motion, and I think you seconded it. There's just blanks left. But I believe it's you and you. In Adjourn, it was myself and Bob.
Any other corrections on the minutes? 13th, if not, all those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those
I
opposed?
abstain. I abstain.
You abstain, oh, okay.
Wasn't here.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes for February 27th, 2023 as presented.
Second?
Discussion. Corrections. Joe?
In the first paragraph, I'm sorry, the last paragraph of the first page and the second paragraph, on the first paragraph of the second page, we mention a citizen, and the name is spelt in one case, capital T-E, capital R-I-E-L-E, and in the second case, small t-e, capital R-I-E-L-E. I'm not sure which is correct. I think it's the second one with the small t, but that should be checked and standardized. Right after that name on the second page, first paragraph, we mentioned the ARP grant. I asked the chief a question about that. I thought his answer was it's an AARP grant, but I could be wrong. Under manager's update, first sentence says, M. Jones stated he has had a lengthy conversation with the state representative. I assume that isn't Mr. Samus, but perhaps it is. I assume it's a state representative to some different program, in which case it probably doesn't need to be capitalized, and probably we should provide the agency that individual represents. And that's it.
Okay, any other corrections? Bob?
Just correct me on this wrong, under the second page, under audit update, Ron Smith, CPA, CFE, the very first line, it says, R. Smith stated he was available for any questions about the 21-22. Is that supposed to have had in there between there, those two?
Yep.
just to make it a little clearer.
Okay.
That's the only thing I spotted, so.
Anything else, Mary Lee? Dick? No? All those in favor of the motion with the corrections indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I'll abstain, because I wasn't here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I don't think I joined by Zoom either.
All right. Citizens' comments and/or concerns, issues not on the agenda.
I got a concern.
Go ahead.
Kenneth Lenz, Castleton residence for 62 years.
Can you come up here just so we can hear you better?
My name's Kenneth Lenz. I've lived in Castleton and around for 62 years. Been on Drake Road for 23 years. A concern of mine is I came tonight primarily because I thought there was a sidewalk meeting about a proposal on the sidewalk. I have one concern is pedestrian traffic on Drake Road. Very dangerous for the motoring public. Pretty much every day I avoid getting hit by another car coming at me because, well, one, people are walking in the road, and two, I believe according to the federal MUTCD book, it says there's supposed to be a center divided line on any road, a certain width, that's a 3-rod road. I believe it warrants at least a single center divided line. There is none. Okay? Very dangerous for people driving on the road. I was just wondering if anything will be done about it.
Have you brought this to the attention of Chief Mantello?
I spoke to Mike about it.
Have you talked to the police chief?
About, what would I speak to him
Your
about?
concerns?
About what?
Traffic on Drake Road.
Okay, but how about the center divided line that the federal book requires?
Okay.
Manual on uniform traffic control devices. It's a guidebook for municipalities to go by.
Mhm.
The road's not even close.
I'll
I'm a
make-
taxpayer.
I'll make sure I bring it up with
If somebody gets hurt, it's gonna cost us taxpayers a lot of money.
Okay, thank you, Kenny. Any questions for Kenny? If not, thanks for your comments. Mike, did you wish to
I'll
comment
just
at
make
all?
sure that it gets included on our line striping for this year.
Okay. Did you get that reply, Kenny?
I did. And
Okay.
also the increased traffic, truck traffic is unbelievable, and the increased speed. Like I said, I've been there on that road for 23 years. Okay?
Y'all got it.
Traffic increase is crazy, and the speed is
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Can I ask a question? Kenny, do you have any idea what the increase in truck traffic is related to?
Deliveries, UPS deliveries, FedEx deliveries, uniform truck control deliveries, log trucks, all kinds of different trucks. Fuel, because more people are living down there now, so there's more fuel deliveries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I can do a traffic count if you want.
No, I'm just not sure how we can control FedEx and
You
UPS.
can't, but you could get more police coverage to control the speed limits,
Sure, okay.
okay?
But
Because if
have
one of
you-
them trucks hits me,
Have you brought this to the attention of the police
I
chief?
have not.
Well, that seems to be the first
Well,
place you should
I
go.
did speak to Mike once about it, and they did send a patrol car up there, but I live there I'm there every day. I travel the road to the
Yep.
post office every day. I'd never see a police officer doing radar,
Okay.
ever.
Okey-doke.
Okay.
Thanks, Kenny. Anyone else who wishes to address the board?
If I get
Item-
hit by one of them trucks,
Got
it's
it.
gonna cost taxpayers a lot of money.
Anyone else who wishes to address the board? Items not on the agenda. Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, just, it's on record, we've had a couple complaints about buses, people not stopping for buses and stuff, I've been dealing that with Chief. I'll make sure this gets brought up as one of the targets for patrols.
Okay.
Just a comment, that is a 35-mile-an-hour road, correct?
Well, I thought so,
Well, that's
but I
what
don't
the
believe it
posted,
is.
let me rephrase the question. The posted speed limit is 35
Yes,
miles
it
an
is.
hour.
That's correct.
Is it posted, Dick, real well? Do you know?
I
It was
driven
re-signed,
that road a lot of times and noticed the speed limit signs, but I couldn't tell you how frequent they are.
that was part of that re-signing project that they did, the state did about, 3 years ago?
So it's legally posted with the speed limit
With all
signs?
the new
Okay,
corners and all that stuff.
okay.
Okay. Anything else?
So if anyone's violating the speed limit there, they have no excuse.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'll check online. Is there anybody on Zoom that wants to address the select board items not on the agenda? If you do, please unmute yourself. Nobody.
Nobody? Okay. We'll move on. to pedestrian accessibility scoping study, final product brief, Nicole Fox, Fuss and O'Neill. Are you there, Nicole?
I am here. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome.
I will share my screen if that
Not gonna do you any good,
works for
Nicole.
everyone. Let's see if I can pull this off.
Nicole, I can't get stuff up on the screen, so they're not gonna see what you share.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can see it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I guess the lucky folks online maybe can see it. So,
Yes, they can.
Mike, I did send you the slides today if that's something that the select board is interested in looking at after the meeting. You could share it with them perhaps.
Yeah, I can do that, Nicole. I'm just trying to figure a way. I don't know why the or the projector's not working, but I don't know why. It's working, but I can't get what's on my computer to go to it.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I will run through the presentation with an explanation. So if there's any questions that anyone has, feel free to stop me at any time. There's certainly some parts that are more visual than others, but it's just giving you a summary of the project. So,
They can see it now, Nicole.
Oh,
Hey.
oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Recording in progress.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. All right. So this is the final presentation with the preferred alternative and the study results for the Castleton Pedestrian Improvement Scoping Study. There we go. So the background on this, it's been a while since we've been here, so I'll try to run through this quickly, but I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So this project was started with the Rutland Regional Planning Commission in collaboration with the town and with V-Trans. You hired Fuss and O'Neill, which is my company, to conduct a scoping study to improve pedestrian mobility. And the projects follow the V-Trans project development process for project definition. The project team consisted of Devin Neary from the Rutland RPC, Mike Jones, Pete Pochop from V-Trans, myself, and my colleague Alan Pamaka. So for tonight, our agenda is we're going to review the project development process. We'll go through the preferred alternative, and we will review the project phasing as well. So the Vermont project development process has 3 phases: project definition, which is what this scoping study is. From there, it moves into project design, and finally, project construction. So in the project definition phase, we collected data, we held a local concerns meeting, we had a purpose and needs statement, we developed alternatives for improvement, we had an alternatives presentation meeting and an endorsement of the preferred alternative, which as I overheard your conversation about new select board members jumping right in, I think our alternatives presentation meeting was last year, right after your elections. So I appreciate everyone's patience with us being at the first meeting afterward 2 years in a row. The project kicked off in August of 2021. We held the local concerns meeting in October. The alternatives presentation meeting was in, I guess, February of 2022. We had the draft scoping report was completed in May of 2022. There was a delay. There were some issues to tidy up related to the historic evaluation that sort of held up the approval with V-Trans, but we are now here. And the final scoping report was submitted in February of 2023. This is the project study area. It is in Main Street from Sand Hill Road to the Delaware and Hudson rail trail head and the Amtrak station. It also includes South Street from Main Street down to the intersection with the Delaware and Hudson rail trail. We developed a purpose and need statement following the local concerns meeting. The purpose was to develop proposed improvements to enhance the connectivity, consistency, and safety of pedestrian facilities and improve the safety and visibility of pedestrian crossings on Main Street. The needs included inconsistent existing pedestrian sidewalk network with the location, width, material, and accessibility, and the crosswalks that are existing are long and visibility is insufficient. We developed 4 alternatives. Alternative 1 is always a no-build alternative. We always give you the option to say you'd rather leave things alone. Alternative 2 included a core of sidewalk and no bike lanes. Alternative 3 had extended sidewalk limits and regular bike lanes, and alternative 4 included sidewalk all the way from Sand Hill to the Delaware and Hudson Trail, and on South Street from Main Street down to, I believe it's the Jefford Center where the existing sidewalk picks up, that is the newer concrete sidewalk. This is the matrix that we developed to compare the alternatives with the relative costs for the construction just of the sidewalks themselves. It doesn't include any of the lighting or rapid flashing beacons or street furniture that we looked at. Gives you the opportunity to compare the improvements, the impacts of the project, or the different alternatives. Last year, the select board voted to select alternative 3, which is the extended sidewalk that runs on the north side of Main Street from North Road to the Amtrak station, and on the south side from Glenbrook Road to the Delaware and Hudson Trailhead. On the South Street, it's on the east side of the road from Jefford Center to Main Street. Bike lanes that run from Sand Hill Road to the Amtrak station, and crosswalks across Main Street at South Street and North Road, Elm Street and Mechanic Street, and at the Amtrak station in the Delaware and Hudson Trailhead. All of the side road crosswalks were also maintained. The sidewalk proposed is 6-foot wide concrete sidewalk with granite curbing. Bike lanes are 5 foot wide. On the south side in the village center, there's also a buffer to traffic. Crosswalks, we reduced the length and improved the visibility of pedestrians by including bump outs, islands, and rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Lighting was included as well, ornamental lighting between South Street and Buell Block on Main Street. The total estimated project costs are $4.3 million. That includes the construction, the design and construction engineering, administrative costs, and it included 5% per year cost escalations to 2025. I'm sure that you have all heard about how much construction costs are escalating, so we did want to make sure we included that for planning purposes. So this is a section of what Main Street would look like in the section where the bike lane has a buffer. One of the bike lanes is next to traffic, but the other one actually moves the bike lane next to the curb line and shifts the parking out. It does not require any widening of Main Street at all. Just have a few plans to show. It does not include the entire limits of the project, although I have that available if anyone has any questions. This is a section showing the crosswalk just west of South Street and North Road, and the sidewalk extending down South Street. It shifts the crosswalk actually from the east side of the intersection to the west side. Here's the section over by Elm Street and Mechanic Street showing the crosswalk across there. There is an island separating between the bike lane, which is next to the existing curb, and then there's an island on the other side with a crosswalk. It shortens the crossing and it helps improve the visibility for pedestrians. And then as we head further east, this shows a section where the bike lanes are, the parking is eliminated on the south side of Main Street in this area just before the trailhead. But the bike lanes and the sidewalk do extend all the way down. And this is a section of what South Street would look like. It's very similar to what it looks like today, but just with new sidewalk replacing what's there. So moving into the phasing, we broke the project into 3 separate phases to help alleviate, alleviate the cost of to the town of one all at once. There's 3 phases. The first one has a project cost approximately $2 million. That includes the sidewalk on the north side from North Road to the Buell Block, and on the south side from Glenbrook Road to the Castleton Village Store. It includes a sidewalk on South Street. It includes rectangular rapid flashing beacons at both the Elm Street and Mechanic Street crosswalk, as well as the one at South Street and North Road. And it includes painting the bike lanes from Sand Hill Road to the Castleton Village Store. Phase 2 builds the remaining sidewalk to the east, so it's the Buell Block to the Amtrak station and Castleton Village Store to the Delaware and Hudson Trailhead. It includes a rectangular rapid flashing beacon at the Delaware and Hudson to the Amtrak crosswalk. And it includes the bike lanes for the eastern part of the project as well. The estimated cost for that is $1.6 million. And phase 3 is the ornamental lighting on Main Street, and that has an estimated cost of $700,000. And that is the end of the slideshow. So does anyone have any questions or to want to see any more detail of different areas?
Joe?
Hi, Nicole. Joe Mark here.
Hi.
One tiny little suggestion is to take an N out of Glenbrook Road. The question I have, and I recognize that I voted for the third option here. I can't recall the reasoning behind putting the crosswalk at the Elm Street, Mechanic Street location. As I've digested this, my fear is that there are going to be a lot of people who still bust across Main Street at the post office. But I think if I recall, the parking was one of the reasons why the crosswalk was moved to the location shown on your image here. Is that correct?
So I apologize, but there was a little bloop from the computer right at the moment you said the reason, so I missed that. Could you repeat what the reason you were thinking it is?
Well, I think it's parking. I think that the crosswalk at the post office would be too long because of the existing parking.
So the issue with the parking is that we are restricted where we put in a crosswalk to not have parking within 20 feet of that crosswalk for pedestrian visibility. And so if we kept it more in the middle of that block, even if we crossed it to the other corner, we would have lost several parking spaces, and we were trying to maximize the parking as much as possible. So that is why it's that intersection, the way that it is now. We did discuss the fact that some people are still going to cross wherever it is that they're going to cross. And generally speaking, if if I can get pedestrians to go 20 feet out of their way, I consider it a win. There's nothing to stop people from crossing the street at any location that they want, but you can't really put crosswalks in at every location that someone will cross. For those who are able-bodied and wanting to take that risk on their own, there is nothing that would restrict them from doing that. But for those who maybe are a little bit more vulnerable, maybe go a little bit slower, need a little bit safer crossing, this does provide that opportunity for them. And it's not actually all that far from where the old crosswalk is.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions for Nicole? So where are we on this? Mike, you have, or Nicole, go ahead.
So the next step from here, once this, we're looking for the select board to vote to accept the study. And once that happens, that will complete the project process for project definition, and the town will be able to apply for grants for the next phase for design. Well, probably design and construction. I don't, Mike, how you normally do that.
It'd be both, but I've talked it over with Devin. We have a recommendation to make to the select board on a two-pronged approach to this. But the first step was to get them to accept this so that we have the study done.
Is there a motion to accept the study?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Now do we discuss next steps, Mr. Chairman, or what's next on the?
Next step, Mike.
If I could, Mr. Chairman. So we applied for the bike and ped grant last year, and we were really high on the list.
It's close.
And so we'd like to apply again this year. It won't fund the entire project, but the congressional delegates have they're not really grants, what are they?
Earmarks?
CDS,
Yeah.
congressionally directed spending. Yeah.
So
Earmark.
yeah, it's earmarks. That this since if you accept this now, that we could use this as a mechanism to apply for that, because they're looking for more shovel-ready type things, and now that we have the pedestrian scoping study done, we could apply for both the bike and ped grant and the congressional. And maybe between the two, we'll get enough money to be able to work in a phase.
Okay. Devin, you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I sat on the selection committee last year on the state bike ped program, and this actually ranked higher than other projects that were awarded, because, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle with fitting in the amount of money they have with what the project costs. So this actually ranked higher than projects that were funded, but the request was just a little bit too high. I'm really optimistic that, given it ranked so high last year, we'll refine the application a little bit more this year, that it has as good a shot as any project is getting funded by the state. The issue being that's only a $3 million program. So last year we tried to really be creative on how we could get the cost down. We're thinking we could save some money with the Class 1 repaving project. Maybe they would pick up the line striping. So I would say we should definitely look for those sort of efficiencies this application period. But I would strongly encourage the town to reapply. Last year's feedback was only positive. So it's only a matter of time before you get the funding. That's an 80-20 split. So if you folks remember last year, you had allocated some ARPA funds as the match. Depending on what level of funding we look at, that's a significant amount of money, even that 20%. So consider where those local match funds will come from. But I think it's a great project, and I think the state considers it a really great project as well. So,
Any questions for Devin?
I do, Jim.
Mike?
So, there was a cap, what was the cap, or there was no cap
No cap.
on the congressional stuff?
No cap, yeah.
So we could ask for the full amount, or you could ask for whatever the phases that are in there you want to do. But you're talking $4.3 million, and if they have any limited funding, I'm not sure if that's the route to go, but.
Right. Yeah, the only sort of hiccup with the CDS money is the time frame is really short. From funding to construction, they want it, within 1 to 2 years. So that can be tricky for a project of this size, especially if you're trying to harmonize with this Class 1 paving project. More things to consider when applying, but throw everything out there and see what sticks,
Okay, is there a motion on this?
What do we need for a motion, Mr. Lim?
Need a
I thought we
motion
already accepted the study.
Scoping study, so do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that.
You could make a motion to apply for bike ped, or you could wait until, it hasn't even been announced yet. Usually that's April to June timeframe. So we could come back with a request.
But the
The
congressional is open
CDS is now, yeah,
So, and there's no match to that, right?
no.
So I think that we'd be foolish, Mr. Chairman, not to apply for it, because there's no match to it.
Right.
And what's the harm?
Is my math correct that 20% of 4.3 million is 860,000?
Yes, it is.
Yes, yep. But there would be no requests for that level with a match program. The CDS is no match.
I understand, so if
So-
we get federal earmarks, for lack of a better term, that could conceivably be all or some of the 4.3 million?
Conceivably. It's a tall order, but sure, yeah.
What's the max on the bike and ped?
No max,
No max.
other than the program limit, which is 3 million, so.
Okay,
So
based on that information.
what's the formal term of the federal CED,
CDS.
CDS?
So Welch, Balint, and Sanders all have their own CDS fund.
So
we
I'm
missed
gonna
the
make a
first one.
motion to authorize the town manager to pursue CDS funding for this downtown sidewalk project.
I'll second it.
And second, any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll make an additional motion to authorize the town manager and Devin Neary to pursue the state grant for the bike and pedestrian grant for this same project when the appropriate time this spring comes.
Second that too.
Second, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 So are you good to go, Mike?
All set, Mike?
Good to go, Devin?
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Devin.
I just want to give a shout out to Nicole. She did an amazing job on this project. Unbelievably patient, had some great vision, and pushed back the right amount on V-Trans when we needed her to. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. It was a great project, and we really enjoyed working on it. So we look forward to working with the town more. Thanks so much.
Can I have somebody email me those slides, please?
Okay, moving on to the town
John,
plan.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Devin. Liz?
So, did everyone get the email about deleting the 2 paragraphs on pages, I think it's 10 and 11?
Yes.
We did, yep.
So basically, if you're in favor of the plan, you just need to make a motion to approve the town plan as presented. And then, while that motion is on the floor, then someone needs to move to amend the motion by deleting the 2 paragraphs that have the references to the Gateway Overlay District on pages 10 and 11. And then pass, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just sorry to bother you in the middle of it.
Okay.
Can you come up
Can't
here
hear
just
me?
so you're closer to the mic?
Okay.
Thank you.
Coming all the way up.
The podium is fine too if you're more comfortable.
That's okay, Liz.
All right.
Either way, whatever you're comfortable with.
Alright, so you need to make a motion to accept the town plan as amended by the planning commission. Then and get a second. Now, then when that's on the floor, someone else needs to make a motion to amend the motion by adding, to delete the 2 paragraphs with the references to a gateway overlay district on pages 10 and 11. Then a second to the amendment, discussion on the amendment, hopefully pass the amendment, then go back to the motion and open discussion for the motion as amended, and then hopefully pass that.
I'll take a stab at this, Mr. Chairman.
Sure,
if you
go
would.
ahead.
I'm going to do it a little different, but I'm going to make a motion that we accept the town plan as revised by the planning commission and presented to the board. However, in addition to that, we are going to delete all references to the gateway districts on page 10 and 11.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
A second. Discussion.
Did I pretty well cover it?
I think it does.
Sounds good.
Is that okay, Liz?
Let's come.
Okay, all those in favor
Mr.
indicate by
Chairman?
saying aye. I'm sorry, Joe.
I have a question for
Yes.
Lizzie and the planning commission. There's a lot of really old stuff in here.
Right. So the planning commission will be working on we have to update the town plan, but that takes a couple of years, so we will be going page by page and updating the town plan by, I believe, 2025. So, but right now, we're still working on the new zoning bylaws. But as soon as we're done with that, we are moving on to the town plan. So we do recognize that there are things that need to be updated.
Yeah, I will vote in favor of the motion, but reluctantly. Because honestly, a town plan that relies on 2008 data is a little embarrassing. And the town plan that still thinks we have a Castleton-Hubbardton school district
Right.
is a little embarrassing. And there are just many, many anachronisms in here which really need to be corrected quickly, in my opinion. And I know that the zoning regs is important, and that I'm glad you're working on those. But it would be nice if you could kind of split up your commission and have, from my point of view, especially with the help of the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, I think updating the data can be easy. I think they can do that for us. The other changes that are needed, to, for example, update the plan to address Procelicor, which is
Right.
something that everybody in the county knows we're concerned about, but that isn't hinted at in here. So to correct the information on the school, those things could be done quickly, and I'm happy to give you my copy, which are where I've edited
So
that
anyone on the
heavily.
select board, or anyone in the whole town, if they have recommendations for the town plan, definitely write them down, email us, and we will take that into consideration for sure. Because there has to be I believe there has to be a hearing, I think. I have to learn about that myself, so.
I think you've had
Public hearing will
hearings, and I
come-
think the select board has to
Public
have.
hearing will come first on anything we
Yeah.
change the
Right.
town plan, and then it'll come before you to
Right.
approve, so.
Don't sit down yet, Liz.
Okay.
I have a question when we're ready.
Sure. You all set, Joe?
Yeah, and there's also just some typos that are,
I agree.
split-second fixes. I'll give you this all.
So, after I got the email about deleting the references to gateway districts, I went through this a while ago when you first gave it to us, and had no real causes for debate. However, I did agree with Joe's thought that some of the data was a bit dated. However, moving on, after I got that email, I did a quick perusal of this, and I caught one thing on page 40 that I don't know if we need to go through this with a fine-tooth comb at some point soon and make some changes, but on page 40, the top line in blue, which is a new addition, that says the exits from Route 4 into Castleton from both east and west are gateways to the community and must be preserved. Now, is that in contradiction to removing the gateway district language that's on page 10 and 11? I'm just curious. And that's the only one I found with
I think
a,
in that gateway, it should be maybe a lowercase g.
yeah, it was just a 15-minute zip through this the other day when I got that email, and I you know, I found this one thing. So I didn't know maybe if there was other potential things in there, so change that to a lowercase, and I guess that'll be happy for now.
I think that would be, because it probably is, yeah.
But I don't know if there's any other potential contradictions in there as well, so
I looked as well,
this
but,
is more as a heads up than anything else.
yeah, we will definitely be working on this. We're aware it needs a lot of attention.
Okay,
Well, just along the lines of Mr. Combs' comments, I think there's a reference to land which the town owns, and at present, your plan, or our plan, calls for that to be developed for recreation. I believe it's the same property that the town, that the Select Board has discussed as selling.
Which parcel is that, Joe?
I think it's in Crystal Heights.
Oh,
okay, shall we call the question, folks?
Yeah.
I think we
All those
should.
in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Liz. Moving on, Friends of Fairhaven Union High School, project graduation 2023, request for a donation. Does anybody know, did we donate last year? I'm sure we probably did, and if so, how much? Mike, do you have any idea of that? What was it?
I don't know if they did it last year.
Probably not.
I don't recall
I
this
just seen,
coming
I don't
up.
remember seeing this.
You don't?
No. So this was the first time in a few years I've seen this. I'm not sure if they didn't do it because of COVID or.
That could be, yeah, that could have been it. yeah.
Is there anybody here to speak to it?
Is there a motion? Does the board wish to make a donation?
Do we know what their budget is for project graduation? I mean,
For us? Or for their budget?
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Their
What their budget is.
Their budget.
Are they talking, you know, do they have to raise
No
50
idea.
bucks or 5,000?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
A lot.
How soon do they need to have an answer to this?
Joe?
Supportive as I am of the project, I'm always a little troubled considering what a nonprofit should do when being asked for money from another charitable project. And I don't know whether that's an appropriate use of taxpayer funds.
Okay.
I'd rather personally contribute than vote for the Select Board to have the town contribute.
I think I agree with that, mainly because if we give it to them, we're opening the door to
Yep.
other good causes, but still.
Sure. Is that the consensus of the board?
Yes, I'll agree with Joe and Mary Lee, because I personally have given both money and time to this project.
Sure.
Over the years, and would be happy to do so again.
Okay.
Well, just keeping in mind, it is a lot of our students from Castleton.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Sure.
part of this.
Certainly.
But I understand what Joe and Mary Lee are saying, yeah, so.
That seems to be the consensus of the board. If not, we'll move along. Public Safety Committee, recommendation to approve purchase of the truck for the fire department. Dick, you are the chair of that group.
I would invite the chief or his designee to make a brief presentation, and then I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents. And you're welcome to chime in as well. Can you lead off, please, chief? I know you, and I'll jump in and help you out.
I can try.
I think it should come from you.
Be brief, chief, it's gonna be a long night for you.
I
You can
know.
keep this short, but
As the board has known, I think you've been broke, that you guys tasked us with rewriting our replacement schedule for our apparatus, our fire apparatus, our mainline apparatus, which we did this summer, and got it to you. Our first task was to consolidate our engine 2 in our current ladder truck with one piece of apparatus. And that is the piece of apparatus my assistant chief, Dan, found one online. Me and Dan and Mike Jones and Joey Smith traveled out there mid-February to view this truck. And And we also hired Rob Fire Truck Repair to inspect it for us, just because none of us are, in it every day like they are around fire apparatus. It had very favorable reviews from Rob's mechanic, and it checked off the list of what we were looking for the truck to do for us, and think it's could be a piece longevity here for quite a while to do what we need.
Thank you, Heath.
Heath and Dan and Joey Smith met with us, with the Public Safety Committee, which is myself and Jim Leamy and Mike Jones, last Wednesday. And we reviewed this, and we decided at that meeting that we were gonna wholeheartedly recommend and support this proposal from the fire chief to the select board. You wanna add anything, Jim?
Nope, you covered it very thoroughly.
And we're paying for it how?
Pardon?
We're paying for it how?
Reserve fund.
Yeah, I'll add that the reserve account has more money, substantially more money than this to cover the cost. We expect that the cost of the truck at $265 plus another wild guess $30,000 to $35,000 to completely equip it and get it striped and get the mechanic with the truck, which we purchased by us and be available in maybe October or November.
That's what would be the hope by October.
And then the truck,
Their new truck is supposed to be here in September. They've ordered a brand new truck, and their new truck will be here in September, and then we should have it here by October.
so what will happen is the truck will be purchased by us, and then once they release it from their service, it will go to, is it Rob?
Rob, yeah.
We'll go to their facility in Syracuse, Syracuse, New York.
Rochester, somewhere.
And then get totally gone through there, and there's a couple things that need to get refurbished, and a couple things that need to be repaired, and also lettered for the town. And then it would be transferred from their facility to ours, and then we'd have a period of time to get it equipped and get training and get people up to speed on running it, and then it can be put in service. So, the other thing that we should mention, Chief, is that they require a 10% deposit to hold the truck. And that purchase and sales agreement will include some protection for us in as much as if anything happens to that truck where it is not available in November or September, whenever that time frame is, that our refund is refundable, or our deposit would be refundable. Does that pretty well cover it?
Yep.
So their legal people are going to write up this purchase and sales agreement, submit it to our town staff, and then our town attorney will review it to make sure it's acceptable, and then it would be presented to us for authorization for payment. But at this point, I would make a motion that we authorize the town manager and the fire chief to make a verbal commitment with this fire company, I don't recall the name, but Forest Grove Volunteer Fire Department in Pennsylvania to purchase this truck for $265,000.
I'll second that.
Beat me to it. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. You all set, Heath?
Thank you very much.
Nice job, guys, thank you. Appreciate all your effort.
I do, Heath. I'm trying to, I really appreciate your plan and all the work that must have gone into that. I'm trying to make sense of these pages, the current and proposed fleet size, which indicates you'll be paring back to 5 vehicles, and then a support trailer and an all-terrain response unit. Is that correct?
That's, by the time, when we get there, yes, that
Yeah.
would be the plan.
And on your proposed replacement schedule, I think you've got 6 vehicles.
Good catch. Good catch, Joe.
You do that, Heath?
We're gonna combine a couple more.
The van and engine 5 would be leaving when we replace the UTV in the trailer and a pickup to tow it with. Then 2 would be leaving when we went to that UTV and trailer combination. there's 7 out there now.
I guess that what I would say, given the length of our agenda and how far behind we already are, maybe at some future meeting, you can kind of clarify the replacement schedule.
Just so Mike, I know somebody knows, I don't know what page you're talking about right now.
So why don't you give me a call and I'll go over it with you, and whatever I don't have clarity on, I'll get from the chief.
So engine 5 and utility
We had
1
that at the
will
last
become
packet.
the pickup and the trailer when it gets to the replacement, so that's what current fleet
Okay,
is
so they shouldn't
now.
really be on there in terms of the date that you've got for them.
Yes, correct.
All right.
Because they're 25 combined, 2025 combined, it says, and that's what it means, them two will be combined into
Great.
one unit.
Okay, thanks a lot, Heath.
Thank you.
Nice job, guys, thank you.
Yes. Public safety, DRB appointments. Heath Goyette, Jim Thomas, and John Alexander. Mike, have you done some research on this?
Well, this started way back when we were looking for replacements or people on the planning commission and alternates, and I think it was determined way back then that there was no alternates on any of these boards or commissions or committees, particularly the planning commission and the DRB. So when that went out, I had conversations with Heath and John Alexander, and that was like a long while ago. And it just kind of died with everything going on. So I asked them recently if they were still interested, and they said yes, and they submitted the letter. And then I talked to Jim Thomas about it, because he used to be on, or chaired the DRB at one point in time, and he's on the planning commission as well, so Jim had agreed as well, so we just said, I'll bring it to the board now that the elections are over, and I didn't know what was gonna happen with the board, so I figured I'd wait until that happened to bring the nominations forward, or the candidates forward.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
It's my understanding that per state statute, we can have up to 9 members on this board. Is that correct?
The state statute, I couldn't find it in state statute, I found it in our zoning
Regulations.
bylaw.
I also found it in state statute when I was looking
I
at it
searched
one
today and I
day.
could not find it.
I'll see if I can find that, because I'm confident it's there.
Is that for the DRB? 9 for the DRB?
Correct. Second thing is, we know that, or what I think I know, is that 2 of the board members' term expires in June of '23. And the other 3 members expire when? Do we know?
The following year, and Karen had that today, and I don't know, I never got a copy of it, to be honest with you. She showed it to me, but I didn't get it from my hand. Showed that they're the following year. So it was Don and Laura this year.
And typically, we assign a 3-year term?
No, they haven't. That's, the way it reads, it says a 3-year term staggered, and we got 1-year terms and 2-year terms, and so here's an opportunity, if that's what our bylaws say and you want to not change those, then here's an opportunity, I guess, for this year to appoint the 3-year terms, and then when the folks are due next year, I've asked Karen to reach out to them to give them a heads up, but if the board says, do you want to stick with the 3-year terms by our own bylaws, then the ones that come due in '24, they would have to know ahead of time that they'd be committing to a 3-year term. It would stagger some of them, it'll stagger 3-year terms, it won't be 1-year term, a 2-year term, or a 3-year term.
So we have 2 people that are expiring in '23.
Can I say something?
Who's the second one?
Can I finish first?
You sure?
We have 2 people that their term is expiring in 2023, and we have 3 people currently on the board where their terms expire in 2024. So if we were to appoint these people to the board for a 3-year term, or whatever the right number of months is, to expire in June 30 of 2025, that would establish a staggering of 2, 3, and 3. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
But are you gonna follow the bylaws? If it says a 3-year term, are you gonna go to 2-year terms or 1-year terms? It sucks for us to look at it, trying to sort this thing out every year, because they change. It's like, it's a 2-year, then it's a 1-year, and if we have bylaws, I think I've heard members of this board say we should follow our own rules.
But where I'm going with this, Mike, is that if we appoint these people for a 3-year term that expires in 2025, the 2 people whose terms are up in 2023, if they opt to be reappointed, or somebody else asks to be appointed, and we assign them a 3-year term, that will expire in 2026. So therefore establishing a 3-year rotation. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm confused.
Everyone follow me?
I'm confused because you must have a different sheet than I do. I've got the one that's appointed in April 22, and I've got Laura Sargent in 22 expiring. Pat Keller should have expired in 21. Dan Forcier in 22. Don Woods in 22. And Mike Holden in 22.
Yeah, that's, the one I saw today, Mary Lee, that was updated, was not that one.
Did you bring them with us, with
No,
you?
as I said, I didn't get a copy, I saw it, but I didn't get a copy. I just know there was two people that are this year, and then the other 3 are next year.
Joe?
I don't think there's anything that would prevent us from appointing a person to the remainder of a 3-year term, which ends in fill in the blank. And it might be 1 year for one individual, 2 years from another, for another, and 3 for a third. And I think it would be wise to do that, and when those people's terms expire, if they want to be reappointed, we reappoint them to a full 3-year term.
That's what I'm
But
attempting.
we have the capacity to add additional members and/or members who will replace members who are leaving the board. But to stagger the new members will ensure that we have a chance of maintaining that 3-year term staggered.
That's what I'm attempting to do, Joe, is we have 2 people that are expiring this year. We have 3 more that are expiring in 2024.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have confidence in that statement. I mean, I saw that list that Mary Lee's referring to. I think I have it home. And it appeared to me that we had vacancies. There were people whose terms had expired and had not been reappointed.
That, I saw the same document, and that's old data. So that's why we talked to the town manager today and had him check current files, and this is the information I was given by the town manager verbally. I do not have it in writing.
And I don't have it at all.
I don't have
Trust me,
it.
I can tell you what I saw today. Without going back and looking at minutes of meetings to say, since that document was produced, that something would change to that, I'd have to go back through minutes. But I asked Karen to do that, and the list I got today, I gave you the names. There's 2 people that expire, according to our records, that expire in June of this year, and the other 3 expire the following June.
Who's who?
I said it, it's Laura Sargent and Don Wood expire June of this year. The other 3, Dan Forcier, Pat Keller, and Mike Holden expire in June of '24.
So why would we not consider appointing these individuals who have expressed interest in joining the DRB?
I have every intention of doing so, but what I was going to suggest is we do it for a 27.5-month term, which expires in 2025. Then we have approximately 1/3 of the board expiring every year over the next 3 years. Therefore, establishing a 3-year turnover.
Are you saying we would appoint 3 people to the same term?
Correct, right now.
I wouldn't be in favor of that. Because that I think, gets us into the same trap of having the possibility of too much turnover suddenly.
It actually gets us out of that trap because we have 2 people whose terms expire this year. We have 3 people that terms expire next year in 2024. And nobody's term expires in 2025 right now as we sit. Which is why I was proposing that we appoint all 3 of these people for a 27.5-month term, which expires on June 30th of 2025.
That's not what I would be in favor of.
Does that mean that
Dan-
the following
Dan-
year, when
Dan
the three
first
people
year.
come due in '24, so you don't change it this year? The terms will be for 3 years, thus pushing it out to '27?
What I would suggest is that for the two people that their terms expire in 2023, that's this coming June, they either ask to be reappointed or they do not. In either, for them or anyone else who steps up and would like to be appointed to the DRB at that point in time, we appoint them for a 3-year term. And that would give us our 3-year rotation.
But all those 3-year terms would be coming due the same year.
No, they would not. That's the whole point of this.
I hope you guys can get this straightened out.
Have we asked Laura and Donwood if they are interested in continuing? Or shouldn't we before we?
They have, and they've expressed their interest when they did it again last year, that one of those, and I'm not gonna go into names right now, because I had a personal conversation with them, but it's, that one of those isn't gonna seek reelection, so,
A reappointment?
reappointment, sorry.
Liz, did you have something a little while ago, or if you've got
All I wanted to
it?
share was that when I had looked at this for the planning commission, I just wanted you guys to know that by state statutes, you have the power to appoint people from 1 to 4 years, regardless, it doesn't matter what the bylaws say. That's all I wanted to tell you. But I think you probably know that.
Thank you, Liz.
So can I ask Joe a question?
Yeah, but then let's get a motion and let's move on.
Fair enough. Joe, we have 3 people who have requested appointment to the DRB.
Right.
What would you suggest we do?
I would suggest that we appoint one to a term that expires in June of 24, one to a term that expires in June of 25, and one to a term that expires in June of 26.
Would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Well, I'd be happy to do that, but I think that still leaves the question of which individuals would get which of these terms.
Exactly. How are you gonna do that?
Sure.
And that, but I guess I'd be happy to, and this doesn't, in my opinion, require a motion, to ask the town manager to confer with the 3 individuals who expressed interest in joining the DRB and ask them if they have a preference for which length of term. And then he could come back to us with that information and we could make a decision.
Is that acceptable?
Mike's got,
Maybe not to the manager.
But it's not, because I'm only asking to clarify the bylaws. If the bylaws say 3 years, are you saying to me right now that you want to forego the bylaws? Or should we change the bylaws? Because this is a 3-year term.
Well, that's what I was saying, is state statutes actually say that the select board can appoint.
I got that, but I'm just.
Wait, time out. Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I've
For
been
how long?
taught-
I didn't
could be
get that
wrong,
first
but I've
time.
been taught that state statutes are supersede everything, it doesn't make a difference what you guys say. And that if you choose to, that you have the power to appoint from 1 to 4 years in any of your departments. And it could make so the dates work out, basically, and then you could follow what you want as the 3-year terms.
This already says, the bylaws as they stand say that we can appoint people to vacant seats.
Yeah.
To the remainder of a vacant seat.
But what's vacant?
we don't have vacant seats, though.
Unless, are you saying up to more than 9 was vacant? Up to the 9 or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
okay,
could-
that's what
I
he's
could-
saying.
That one I see now. I wasn't following what you were saying first.
Okay.
Because you're up to 9, is what you're
Yeah.
saying, so there's vacant positions still up to 9.
Well, let's get a motion, folks, and we'll vote on it.
I find it hard to vote for these 3 that have asked to come in when you only have 2 openings and you haven't conferred with those 2 to see who might want to stand.
No, we can have from 5 to 9.
We're adding.
Adding, we only have 5 now, we have the minimum,
Okay. All right,
okay?
We're only gonna be at 8 anyways. We're not even gonna be to the 9.
Right.
8's not good. It's not odd number.
Well, they have a,
We got one more to still recruit.
Okay, let's get a motion so we can move on, folks. It's, we're just slightly behind schedule.
well, are we going to follow Mr. Mark's suggestion and have town manager reach out to these 3 people and find out what they would like to do? Or do we want to just put a stake in the ground and do it now.
I think it should be advertised in case anyone else wants to, is
It's been
interested.
advertised, Mary Lee, for years.
I haven't seen it recently.
Fair enough.
Well, let me put a little more meat on my motion then. And I'm looking at the dates at which these three individuals have expressed interest in joining the DRB. I will move that we appoint Heath Goyette to a term on the DRB ending in June of '26. John Alexander to a term on the DRB ending in June '25. And Jim Thomas to a term on the DRB ending in June '24.
I'll second that.
And a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Boy, that was an easy one.
Was anyone opposed?
Who voted?
Are you opposed, Mary Lee?
No,
You voted no?
I'm not opposed.
Oh, okay. So was the vote unanimous? I believe it was.
I didn't know if she voted yes or no. I couldn't.
Yes.
I didn't know. Okay, fine.
Now that I understand, it's not just 5.
Oh, no.
You weren't getting it through my mind,
Okay.
how you were gonna put 3 people in 2 people's place.
All right. Municipal Energy Resilience Program. Mike?
Any questions?
I don't have one.
Can this possibly be used to help fix our Sucker Brook problems?
The pump station? Not that I haven't, my conversations with Rutland Regional Planning Commission is no.
So, for example, if we can use it for battery backup energy storage, isn't that an alternative to a generator?
Powered by the sun or something
The
like that?
Tesla Powerwall? I'm serious.
I don't know. I can't answer that question. That wouldn't be the recommendation I make, but I certainly would
Well,
entertain it.
it may make it easier on you for not having to race around putting generators in one place or another.
Well, if
It's
you-
just a thought. If battery backup energy storage is an option,
Yeah.
which it is, I think we should at least briefly consider whether that might provide a solution to the,
I don't know what the hell they're even talking about.
what happens when power goes out
This
at
thing here.
Sucker
This
Brook
thing here.
pump station.
Okay.
I have a solution.
You're in
What's that?
We're just speaking.
Recommendation to buy a generator.
I understand, but
Oh, yeah, it is.
maybe this grant will pay for it.
Can I
Sure, go ahead,
break
Mike.
down what I know about it? So this is the grant that I approached Barbara Noyce Pauling, so you know who I talked to. Referenced this grant, and there's a $4,000 up that we can apply for now, and that's an energy committee and, you know, a few things that you can do. It's not to really build anything, but to start the process. If you so choose or chose to do this energy committee or study, you could use the $4,000, and it doesn't have to be used in like 1 year. It can be dragged out too. So I thought about that, and there's one of the things we were talking about today in the town plan, or in the statute, I'm sorry, it was about an energy committee. Like, wow, it's in the state statute, what a great timing this is. But anyway, that's not what my pitch is. My pitch would be to have a level 1 assessment done of the village school. Once the board decides that, because this isn't open yet, so it's not a big hurry. That if the board decides to keep the village school, this would be a great opportunity to do the energy audit there and make some upgrades to that building. Which would be things like replace old heating systems with more current heating systems that you can get tax credits from, like heat pumps, and insulating windows, replacing windows if they're not energy efficient. So that was one recommendation, and the other one I talked to Barbara about was the only other building that we have in town that would be the highway garage. And that was it's not really well insulated, and heat pumps, we could talk about those upgrades to get rid of fossil fuel, or that'd be as a backup, and the primary would be the heat pumps. So those are the two buildings I was thinking about that, when I talked to her, said seemed to be pretty good candidates for this program. But obviously, one hinges on whether or not we keep the building. And
We
Martha-
can't, you do know, we can't make that decision.
I know, I got the semantics.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you choose, in the end, if you kept it, that could be an option. And Martha reached out to me and saw this as well, and I told her that basically that would be a plan. I was gonna apply for it, but I need to wait till we know if we're keeping the building or not.
So you can't apply for it without knowing that, is what you're telling us?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's a lot of, asking them to commit money to something that then we say, oh, sorry, just joking, we don't own the building. Because it's up to $500,000 per municipality on this.
But this is gonna take some time though, right? You're not gonna tell you tomorrow morning that you've been accepted.
No, we have to still apply, but it's not open right now. So we have some time to determine whether or not the building is eligible by, like, we own it, or we're gonna keep it. And then I apply for it at that point. Because you still have to do level 1 assessments. This isn't gonna be a, 1-year project.
It's discouraging that you can't get the process started, whether we own it or don't own it.
Well, the timeline is on the back of the document for you, it helps you out, Bob.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's no match, there's all this good stuff about it, but, it's, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one for you, besides,
No, it's-
for them to commit money to something, that go through this process and have an energy audit done on it, and then we don't own it.
I get that too, but it'd help everybody's decision whether to own it or not own it if we can know we can get the money, it doesn't have to come out of our back pockets.
We're gonna apply, and I'm not
That's-
sure if we don't know if we're gonna get it. or not.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, I'm kinda wanna put the ball out there, but it can't be done, it can't be done. We're playing Russian roulette again with that building, that's what we're doing.
That means only one round in the chamber.
So,
Yeah, I don't wanna be a wrong chamber.
Mr. Chairman, is it okay, I'll research what Mr. Mark had
Sure.
talked about and make sure that that's something that's eligible, and I'll get with you before that's right.
Well, I'm not sure that's necessary. If you are going after much bigger fish here, in terms of much more costly projects that could be funded through this, a battery wall is probably not worth your time.
But does the board have an issue with me pursuing this grant? It's no harm, no foul. It doesn't cost us any money. It's gonna cost some time, personnel time, but in the end, we'll find out whether or not it's even eligible. Both buildings.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to authorize the manager to move forward on this?
Do you need a motion, Mike?
You need a motion, Mike?
You may not verbally, I heard what you said, unless you're gonna go back and after I do it.
I think,
I
well,
didn't say that.
well, I certainly feel that the town garage is appropriate. There's no question in my mind we're gonna own that next year.
Exactly.
So I would say go forward and keep that, get the ball rolling and see what sugars off. In the meantime, we're gonna have to talk to our co-owners at some point in the not-too-distant future anyways.
Yep, sure. Okay, is that satisfactory? Everyone?
You good?
Okay. Move on to the sale of the cruiser.
I make a motion
The
we
chief has
authorize,
a buyer.
I make a motion we authorize the town manager to sell the 2015 Ford Explorer to Addison County Sheriff's Department for $8,000.
Second. And a second. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. I'm glad he got that
passes.
much for it.
Mr. Chairman, the chief's not here to defend himself at this point, but remember they had a shortfall? So I'm not gonna be able to do it tonight because I asked him for a number and he doesn't have an exact number yet, but the difference between what he has in his reserve fund and what it cost to purchase the vehicle, which was $2,000 more than originally quoted because it went another model year. And then he's got all the outfitting. So he owes me a number to come back to you and saying, of that $8,000 that's in the sale of this vehicle, he needs $1,200, whatever, to make up the difference to equip his, the new one. And then the remaining amount would go into the, police department's, capital reserve.
It is our policy that any sales of this nature go into the reserve account anyways, correct? And it's also our policy that when we have to equip a vehicle, that it comes out of the reserve account as well. So,
End of story, right?
I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
What I want, I got it. I'm not arguing anymore.
Just do
tonight.
what you gotta do,
I'm not
no,
arguing.
there's no argument, just
I
do
think
what you gotta do.
We agree, so why argue?
Okay, we approve that. Former village, did somebody have a
I
question?
said thank you. That's right.
Anytime, Mike.
I have a question.
Moving on to
We
the,
got this question out in the audience, Jim.
yes,
When a taxpayer-owned piece of equipment goes for sale, does it not have to be advertised to the public? Advertised at least to the taxpayers who actually own that equipment? Or can you guys just decide, okay, we're gonna sell it to him? That's my question.
But according to our policy, in this case, because it's a police vehicle and it has all the lights on it, we don't have to strip the lights off and pay all that. It's cheaper to go this route.
But is that the legal way it has to be done, or does it have to be let known to the people who actually own that vehicle, who is us taxpayers?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, Kenny, so I can't, but I'm swear that it's, doesn't say that it has to be conveyed in a public announcement, but I have to look at the policy.
okay,
I'll look it up.
all righty.
I don't, off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you guys could have a policy on it, but is that the legal way to do it?
I would
Or
have,
does it have to be advertised to the public for sale? Like
Says sale of
even a
property.
chainsaw, anything that we own, before it is just, well, we're gonna sell it to him.
We've usually advertised them, like we put it on a site or something like that, like a municipal government site, if the board is approved to sell it.
Okay. All righty. Mike will get back to you on that, Kenny.
Okay, please.
Moving on, former Castleton Village School post-election discussion. Include current operating expenses. I believe we have a copy of the operating expenses to date and information on the anticipated expenses for the fiscal year. Your comments. Early?
Why is it $4.50 a gallon for heating fuel when I get mine for $3.50?
Well, you got a deal.
I am not.
I'm gonna have to talk with you after the meeting and see
I
where.
haven't
Oh,
prepaid.
keep me out of this.
I haven't-
Bob.
I haven't prepaid, I haven't anything in. This
Right,
is-
okay.
And it's just wondering, you certainly must use more than I do.
Mike, I believe, what's your comments on that?
We didn't know what it was gonna be, we're talking next year, so it was kind of, it went from $5, we started off at $3.65 a gallon and went to $5 and something, so this was kind of like somewhere in the middle-ish number.
Okay, so it's just a guesstimate.
It's a guesstimate.
Estimate, yeah.
yeah, it says right there it's an estimate, and it's best we can do at this point is
Any other questions, comments
take a
on?
pessimistic estimate.
Better figure high than.
That's what I think this is, don't you agree with that?
Yeah,
Rich?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Anything else on this?
So we're estimating that the current fiscal year's expenses will be 58,000? That's our best guess at this point in time?
Out at the very bottom of the middle column, estimated through 6/30/2023. If you're seeing a number that's not $35,935, then we have.
Okay, I added the 22 and the 35, that was an error?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the bottom is total annual utilities and maintenance and insurance. Is that where that line falls on?
So it's not as bad as I thought it'd be.
Can I ask the question that, and this is not to slam you, Joe, but I asked at the town meeting, where has the money come from for the expenses paid to date? I know you said at the town meeting, and you may have misunderstood me, Joe. You said, well, we can get it from ARPA. Well, some of these expenses have been paid already. So I just want to ask you, Mike, is where has this money come from?
Can I answer that, Mike? The town piggy bank.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Serious. You know, we get a lot of money from taxes and other sources, and as long as we don't break the law, we can spend that. We have not been, I mean, this is money that we hadn't budgeted for, and as I said at town meeting, the only suggestion that anyone of our 5 members has made is ARPA. And I don't have any other ideas beyond that. We have to make a collective decision to use ARPA for it, and if we don't, I don't know where we would get it from. But in the meantime, while we're in the middle of a fiscal year, it's a kind of from a piggy bank.
It's coming out of the general fund.
Yeah,
So
that's,
If there's a budget surplus at the end of this year, obviously that would be
Yep.
nickel and dimed off that.
okay. Just asking what Peter you stole from, or what is basically,
General fund.
yeah.
Peter's name is potential surplus,
Okay, okay.
Right? Anything else on this? Seeing none, we'll move on.
Well, we wanted to talk about, do we want to talk about anything besides current operating expenses on the village school?
It's up to you.
I mean, what do the taxpayers have authorized us to pay the expenses for up until the end of June of 2024.
Yep.
So what do we have any thoughts on what our next step should be in the next few months? Do we want to have any conversations with Hubbardton? Do we want to have conversations with ourselves? What do we want to tell Rec? And I don't expect any answers right now, I just want to throw the questions out there so people start thinking.
Right, we definitely have to have a conversation with Hubbard. Mike, have
Absolutely.
you heard anything back from Hubbardton yet?
It didn't go out till Friday, Jim, so I haven't heard anything. I was their attorney after the town meeting, so I haven't heard anything back as of today.
Just to make sure we all know, I believe that Hubbardton voted yes to sell the building, and then voted yes to appropriate up to $20,000. Now, is that for current expenses
In their next
or next year?
year.
Next
I see your
year.
hand up, Mayor, I'll get to you.
What about the expenses this year?
They have the same problem we do, is my understanding, based on our conversation with their select board.
And they were, on the 5th of February, I think it was, that it was resent to them, the original, or the invoice.
Are they gonna go to the Hubbardton piggy bank too?
Where else?
I can borrow the money from you
And,
guys.
Mr. Chairman, there's I'm sorry, there's a hand up on Zoom.
Go ahead, Liz, first, then we'll go to
I was
Zoom.
just joking. I was
Pardon?
just saying, that was a joke.
Okay.
Mary
Zoom?
Drogi has a question.
Yeah, I was just worried you were going to go on to the next item without this conversation we've just had, and that's that Hubbardton did vote to sell their portion of the building, and so that does seem like quite an opening for us, since I think it's pretty widely understood that we would like that to happen, right? It would make all of our decisions much simpler. And I know, I have heard you say that you've requested a meeting with the board, and so I just wanted us to have that clarifying conversation, that would be in my opinion, as a rec member's next step. And we haven't had a rec meeting since the vote, so I'm not representing everybody but myself. That is the logical next step, is to meet with Hubbardton and try to figure out how to meet the wishes of the Hubbardton voters, as well as, I think, the wishes of the select board, from what I've heard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess it makes sense.
So whatever we can do to encourage them to, for all of you, whatever we can do to encourage you, two select boards to meet, is, to me, the logical next step.
That's what we plan to do. That's exactly what we plan to do.
Yeah.
Joe?
I would just add, Mary, that, I mean, my assumption is that you still have residents of Hubbardton participating in your Castleton Rec planning and activities, and they may have more leverage than we do to get the Hubbardton Select Board to meet with us, because we requested that meeting almost a month and a half ago and have not received an agreement from them to have that meeting.
Okay.
I think Bo has a comment on that.
If I may, I just unmuted myself, if I can chime in here.
As the rec director or a member of the rec commission?
As the rec director, I suppose. Yeah, I was just gonna offer offer or ask if it would be appropriate. I would be glad to jump in and try to facilitate a conversation. I know that I haven't been in touch with them directly myself, them being the Hubbardton Select Board. So if that feels appropriate, I'm just extending that offer that I could try reaching out to them as well.
Joe?
Yeah, Bo, I personally wouldn't recommend that as an appropriate step at this point. Since the Select Board formally, through the town manager formally, has requested a meeting, I think it would only be appropriate for the town manager and the chair of the Select Board perhaps to follow up on that request. But my earlier comment was that, you know, if residents of Hubbardton went directly to their Select Board members and said, you know, we hope you'll agree to meet with the Castleton Select Board, I think that would carry more weight.
That sounds good to me. Don't know about the rest of the board members.
Bo, do you have any idea how many Hubbardton residents are using the village school?
I don't know exactly, just because I'm not sure where everyone I see every day is from. But I do know that there are a good number of Hubbardton folks there. The ones I could recognize, there are some that I know are from Hubbardton, and I could definitely ask them if they feel comfortable reaching out. But I also, yeah, I do think that just a little foot on the gas from our Select Board as well, which I hear is what you all are planning to do. I think, you know, both would be appropriate at this point with the results of the vote.
Thank you, Bo.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Shall we move on?
I'm ready when you are.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
If we buy out Hubbardton, does that mean Hubbardton residents can't participate in our rec department?
That would be up to the town of Castleton to decide that.
I see no reason not to continue to be good
No,
neighbors.
no, I don't either. I don't either, but I
Just wondering how that
didn't
works.
want to commit, didn't want to commit on it. Joe?
Just a comment, you know, I know that the Rec Commission has put forth a plan some time ago using a variety of sources of revenue that might be obtained. If the Rec Commission wanted to recommend that there be a different fee structure for Castleton residents and non-residents, that might make a difference.
That makes sense.
Sounds
Kinda like we do Crystal
very
Beach.
logical to me.
Exactly.
Right, Crystal Beach, same way, right?
They get a deal, but they don't get the same deal that we get.
Yeah, okay.
But we're, you know, like I said, I see no reason why we can't continue to be good neighbors.
Sure.
No, not at all. Okay, anything else? If not, we'll move on. Liquor license for approval, first and third and outside consumption, Lake Bomoseen Hospitality LLC.
So moved,
According to the chief, there's no problem.
so moved.
I'll second it.
And a second, any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Select Board approval of updated CDL Drug and Alcohol Policy.
I make a motion that we approve the changes to the updated version of the drug and alcohol policy for CMV operators dated 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
I have none.
What is a negative dilute?
I don't know, I read it, Joe, I don't know. You know, Mike, what a negative dilute is?
I thought it was Master Sergeant talk. No?
No, it is not.
Just a request going forward. I think sometimes in the past, when we've gotten proposed changes to policies, they've come through in the track changes format that showed us what was being stricken out, what was being added, what was being replaced. I would find that a lot easier to manage than the list.
That format is always quite helpful, and I would agree with Joe that in the future, we should get proposed changes in that format.
Blame me on that one, I asked you to do that one, not the
Consider
treasurer.
yourself blamed.
Well, I don't want to, yeah, but her, you put it on her and she didn't, it's not her idea, so.
Consider yourself blamed.
Yeah, okay.
In the meantime, what do you wish to do with this? Don't we have a motion on this?
We do.
We do?
Ready to vote.
And a vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
You have the right original?
I got it. Here you go, Bob.
Well, everybody dropped off after that one.
Except
Two
Kenny and
diehards.
Lizzie.
Mike, who are you? You're up there. Aren't you here?
Hear the ding dong? That's me. Ding dong.
I've heard it many times today.
Okay. Any questions for Mike on his manager's report?
I had a
that,
couple, but
Bob?
he's already answered them.
You already answered them. Anyone else have any questions for Mike? Bob?
Page 2, transfer station, is that the roustabout position you're trying to fill, Mike? Okay. These are real quick.
Which, I think
Oh, the one you highlighted, just,
Page 3.
page 3,
yep.
under transfer stations, letter C. I just want to know, it just said the last candidate did not accept the position.
Yeah, it's, and I'm having a hard time filling this one, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
I got $17.15 an hour to offer someone with a CDL.
Gee, McDonald's offers that.
You don't have to have a CDL license to get to McDonald's either.
Last sign I saw Stewart's in West Rutland the other day was $18.50 to start.
Any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, in regards to the trestle, what am I reading there, Mike? I spoke to you. Repairs to the damage done at the trestle back in 2019. What was done for damage?
Is when they had that, was a storm water flooding.
Oh, okay.
The unauthorized levee that let go in the field there, wiped that out.
Anything else for Mike?
I did, just give me 30 seconds here, Jim.
That's okay.
I don't know if you can comment to this or not, Mike, in open session. Little Rutland Road?
Yeah.
Obviously Brett and Dave were confirmed on this, right? We're kept informed on that? Okay.
Yeah, we all looked at it, and it's just, it's.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, I know, it's not something that we can place blame on. It's
Yeah.
like,
So we're paying the bill on it, we're footing the bill.
I don't know how to argue it, you know,
I
say, you
know.
didn't do it, yes, you did, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't broken until you touched it. so.
Okay, okay. I'm not pleased with the state bid representative ordering our vehicle late. Was there any excuse for that? When it cost us?
Forgot.
Really? It
Two
cost us,
vehicles, that wasn't just one, it was two.
cost us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars
It
extra.
was reported to.
Okay, not pleased.
I briefed that at the time it happened, there was two vehicles.
I remember you
It
saying
was the
something.
pickup truck that, for the transfer station and the police car.
We've since canceled the pickup for the transfer station, right?
Correct.
We found other alternatives.
I'm good, Jim, I'm good. That's enough.
The couple questions I had, you already answered.
Sure.
Earlier in the meeting. Thank you, sir.
I don't know how your eyes are, Kenny, but we should all read this. I don't know what it says. Oh, boy. Maybe if I do this, it'll be.
So you find state statute on that?
It's the policy for the disposal or sale of town property.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to see that without glasses.
Anyway, it's online, if you can't read
Is
it.
it, where's it online up on
I
the
just
state of
Googled
Vermont?
town of Castleton policies and.
Yeah, there's a
Well, I
place-
understand you guys wanted policies, but,
And
I know.
before that, I was looking at the law.
I think
couldn't
they're
find-
supposed to be
I
listed.
and state.
I think they are,
Property
town vehicles.
in the sense
I don't know
of
about police
real
cars.
estate,
But
but
like our
not
town trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be
It's
listed.
all
That's
equipment.
always-
I gotta
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
Yeah.
Taxpayer don't own everything. I mean, we own
Oh.
the chainsaws, the shovels, whatever. If something goes for sale, I'd kind of like to know where it is advertised.
Any other questions for Mike? If not, we'll move on. Purchase orders for approval.
Make a motion, we approve purchase order number 049783 to MS Martin Enterprises Incorporated for a Decatur in-car radar speed measuring device for $2,234.07.
There was a
I'll
change
second it, Mr. Combs.
to the warrants.
I
And
got
a
it.
second.
I already got it.
Got it.
If they heard you.
Thanks, Joe.
The whole thing?
The two that are
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yep, okay.
So whoever makes the motion for the
Well-
second part,
All right, we didn't vote on that yet, did we?
no.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the purchase order indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Now we'll move on to the warrants. There are a couple of corrections here. I don't know, do you folks
I
have the
them both.
corrections
I
in
have
red?
both.
You
So I'll
have it?
hand this off to whoever makes the second set of motions. The first motion, I'm gonna move that we approve warrant number 0313R for $157,745.51. Warrant 0309 for $27,944.82. Warrant 0313 for $100,705.57. Warrant 0302P for $15,250.03, and warrant 0309P for $16,497.08.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
On 0313, you said 57 cents and it says 55 here.
That's the correction.
That's the
Mary.
correction. There's, I can show you in here,
Okay, all right,
it's on
no problem.
page 1, about 20 lines down. It's for Brown's Quarried Slate Products. There was a 2-cent error,
Okay.
a typo. It was simply a typo.
It just seemed funny that 2 cents, okay.
I had one quick question, on 0313, and you may be able to tell me without even looking at it. In front of all the purchases, what departments that come from, there's a department here that says TW. What is TW?
Tree warden.
Thank you. Yep. Then, who hauls our sludge over to Rutland?
Got their name.
Mike Hance, one of
Yeah,
them?
Hance, yeah.
Hance?
Yeah. And now recently they had to do with some stuff that Casellas may have hauled.
Okay.
Because they had to work on those SBR tanks, they need to pump them down, and they had to get somebody quickly to do it, so.
So somewhere along the line, we should see Mike Hanson here, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. Anything else, Mary Lee?
No.
All set? Dick? You set? Joe?
I'm set.
You set? Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to the next one. There's a correction there too, from $612.53 to $644.20.
Okay,
You got that, Bob?
I do now.
Okay.
Thank you, Dick.
You all set?
All set?
Yeah. You got that, Mary Lou? Right here, the second one?
The second one, okay.
Yeah, 644.20 from the 645.55.
Is there a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve warrant 0303P for $612.54 and 0310P for $644.20.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion.
I abstain.
You abstain. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
4 yeses and 1 person abstained.
I'll make
Moving
a-
on.
I make a motion, we approve warrant number 0310S for $969.67.
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion?
I abstain.
You abstain. I got it. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Bob abstains.
Make a motion, we approve warrant number 0310H for $969.67.
I'll second it.
And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 I abstain.
Mary Lee abstains.
Okay, make a motion, we approve warrant number 0310M for $969.67.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Joe abstains. Okay. That
Mr.
takes.
Chairman, I was chasing after a camera. I wonder for Mr. Spalding, who was made the motion and seconded?
I made the motion, I believe Mary Lee seconded it?
Yes.
That's right.
And Bob abstained.
I did.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
We all set there?
Yep, thank you.
Warrants are going around.
Need a bigger bulldog clip, Joe.
I know, I don't think they make them any bigger. That's when I graduate to the big rubber bands.
It's like bringing a
Yes.
pen that doesn't work.
You got woodworking clamps.
I'm not so sure we
I
got.
borrowed your.
That's okay. I just hope
Actually,
it holds
I've got
out
them
for
at
you,
the
Jim.
shop too.
So far,
In
so
fact, I've
good.
got some on, those big pipes,
I got some of those
but
too.
don't get any ideas.
Yeah, I just had to buy 30 more clamps.
The price, it was a big amount that I couldn't resist.
I made the motion, Bob seconded for the police car radar.
Yes, yes. Yeah, everybody else is talking,
I'll ask you to
then.
remember that tomorrow, but I remember it
Well, I
now.
Yep.
only need it tonight, thank you.
One more, Joe, one more. Oh,
That's okay, I'll come back.
okay.
Glad to be standing.
Mike. Mike, you still on for Wednesday?
No,
No?
canceled. So all of a sudden, my calendar today got filled up.
Total of 10.
All of a sudden, my calendar for Wednesday got filled up.
Before the town vote.
Okay.
So it's old, but it's something you should keep.
Oh, I didn't know because
No,
I didn't see it.
you didn't see it last week.
Okay.
Snowing
So,
yet?
are you saying that your surgery has been postponed?
It has.
Well, I have to say,
Those two, Joe. 10 when you get them all done.
There should be 10 in all.
I'm fading.
10.
It's like 9 o'clock, I said I'm fading.
Give me both. What's that?
This one should have X's on my
Done
name.
it. What do you want?
We're good, I believe.
Yes. that
I'll take
has-
those back to him.
Hey, it wasn't because I wasn't trying.
I know. I heard you
He
over
had
there.
everything messed up and couldn't start on time.
Here you go, Jim, here's 10.
But that didn't bleed over, that bled over 7 minutes into the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, the first meeting, the last meeting did, yeah. It was 7:07 before we started the other one. We tried to start it.
Okay. Any select board comments or concerns that we haven't already heard tonight?
I have two.
Okay.
One, I'd like an updated one of these things.
Yep.
And, because I know there's a couple people here that are no longer on it.
Oh, is that the organizational chart?
The appointments.
Oh,
And also, I think we should set a time and thoroughly do ARPA funds.
Fine.
absolutely.
Okay, Bob? Dick?
I'm set.
Joe? All set? Any reason for a brief recap, and items for follow-up? If not, you need an executive session, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, unless you guys want to do anything more about the village school, then I don't have anything.
Okay.
I don't think we need to discuss that anymore tonight, do we?
I think we've covered it pretty well. Okay, if not, is there another motion?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Wait, Mr. Lentz?
As a other concern,
Under what?
what's that? Well, don't you usually ask if there's any public concerns before you?
Well, you should have brought it up under citizens' concerns, or was it something that went on in the meeting?
I didn't hear a mention of citizens' concerns.
We did. That's when
It
you,
was mentioned under individual.
that's when you spoke the first time under citizens'
Whatever, then I'll
concerns.
deal with it.
Go ahead, if you want something, go
I just
ahead.
wanted to say, I apologize, because I didn't know tonight was a meeting, a regular select board meeting, so I didn't even come prepared. I was going to go to the next select board meeting. I thought tonight was only a meeting for the sidewalk. And we passed it. That's the way I read the warrant that I saw. But anyways, I apologize for interrupting the meeting. One other public concern besides the pedestrian problem on Drake Road is, did the town put those concrete blocks on Drake Road?
Yes,
Side
they
road?
did.
Are they in the town right away?
We'd have to ask the highway foreman about that and the director of public works.
And they're there for why?
They've been there quite a while in
I
order.
understand that.
Yeah,
Because people were dumping there, and we were having to go pick it up.
yep.
Okay.
So they tried to keep people away from there, so it wasn't, so they couldn't pull up in the woods and throw all their garbage out there.
Okay, so is the town put them there? Okay, just no liability for the town, that's all. Okay, thank you.
That could be set up by a lot of things that we do.
I mean, if somebody hits them things, I mean,
They were painted orange at your request.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.